everyone, welcome back to Out of Positions channel. Today I'm here with, as you can see, this is Summer Sunshine 89 and also known as Summer. This is my sister. Today I wanted to bring some focus around some of the difficulties and problems she's been facing in life and maybe make it more aware to the people about these things. We'll be talking about the process of getting a transplant, what that takes, what challenges it holds, as well as the life afterwards, because there's a lot of importances that people might not be certain about transplants that we want to help shed light on, raise awareness. How are you doing today, Summer?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. One of the first things I want to talk about is when we talk about transplants, I know transplant or donors as people that have licenses, because that's one way that you become a donor. So
Yep.
what are some of the things you noticed about that?
Well, one thing is there's not a lot of people that really talk about donors. There's not a lot of people that I feel in families that have discussions regarding donating after life. Being in this journey has opened my eyes more to even the kids that end up getting donations and how hard it must be on those families to make those decisions for those children that have passed or are passing. And I think it's really important that people do have those discussions with their family members, maybe not children, because obviously whatever you feel is age appropriate to have those discussions is what it is. But for the adults in your life to make it known if you are a donor, even if you have a license or not, you should still let your wishes be known.
Right.
No matter what that is. And that's, if accident was to happen, yes, anything. I know it's came more to light for me as to what I would want if anything was to come about.
Okay.
So I do think it's important that your families, your loved ones know what your wishes are so that they can make those come about whenever something does happen or if something happens.
And have you noticed that it's a lot of hearts are out there right now? Because does that make it more available? I know these people, don't have these talks with their kids and whatnot, but is it more likely that more...
Oh, yeah. If you sign up to be a donor, it's definitely more likely that more hearts are going to be available to all of us that need it. I know it's a hard discussion to have, but sometimes it's the right thing to do to be able to just know your loved one's wishes.
Right. So going back to your transplant, so I live near enough you that I spend a lot of time around you and whatnot, so I know what's going on. But what do you expect the most difficult part of this procedure to be?
The recovery and my mental health, just being away from home with living.
How are you going to cope with that, you think? Or what are your plans to
Counseling, number one. Stay in counseling. I do have somebody that is virtual, so I'm able to still do that even in the hospital. And just fighting to be able to get back to this. My kids are basically going to be my main fight to just get back to normal.
And the setbacks you think you're going to have? Is it going to be a major setback?
It's major surgery. It's life-changing. No matter what, you have to do many biopsies, weekly biopsies. You have to do labs, make sure that your med counts or your numbers and everything look good, because if not, you can go into rejection. Rejection is a very big deal whenever it comes to getting any organ. You have to eat a certain way. You have to eventually do probably cardiac rehab, which I most likely will end up doing. Not sure if I'll do it before I leave Jacksonville, but most likely after, whenever I come home. No driving, no lifting with your arms. You cannot use any of these muscles. You don't realize how much you do use them until they're gone, basically.
Right. This isn't your first heart surgery, but this is your first transplant.
This is my first transplant, yeah. I'm trying to work it as a heart surgery, though.
How often are you going to have to visit the doctors after the surgery is complete? I know the recovery there is going to be a long time.
It actually, after a year, I think it's after 2 years maybe, it's only yearly that you have to go back and see them. Yes, unless things come about, unless you have any kind of symptoms or something that maybe could be like, oh hey, I might have a rejection, so we need to get these tests done.
And what are some of the symptoms? Because you are having some symptoms now that are irregular or an oddity.
Well, my symptoms are to do with congestive heart failure and just my heart disease overall that I have. I was born with pulmonary atresia with an intact ventricle, otherwise known as PAIVS. I do have a pacer defibrillator also that keeps me going at 80 beats per minute. That runs my life 97% of the time.
Right. Have you ever been shocked by it?
No.
It's never jolted?
No.
But that's what it's supposed to do, right?
That is what it's supposed to do. It is a life-saving medical device to where if my heart was to go erratic or stop, it will shock me to try and get my heart beat either back in rhythm or bring it back to life. And it's because I have also ventricular arrhythmias that can cause sudden death. So I'm on medications for that though. I am on meds and they do work very well. They have worked for the last, 2025 now? So, no, 2017 I got on those. So they have worked for that long, but...
You have to take a lot of medicine right now. In preparations for the transplant, do you...
my main heart meds, I take 5 medications. I take 3 diuretics, a potassium pill, and my arrhythmia medication, Sotalol.
And then after your transplant, you're going to have to do the anti-rejection medicine.
You have
so
a lot of meds to start after your first 6 months, year. Usually that does taper down a lot, but for the first bit, it is a lot of medication.
Now, the concern with that is the immunity goes along with it.
Right.
Because you lose a big portion of...
Well, because you are getting an organ heart or organ at all, a donor organ, they take your immune system out completely. That's why you're on all the meds to do that, because they don't ever want your body to reject an organ. And these organs are foreign objects in your bodies. Your body is not relatable to this organ. It does not know this organ, so it cuts it out all the way, your immune system, to where it can't fight it, because it definitely will. You have to take them very consistently. They tell you to, because you can go into rejection if you do not.
Now, I do have a question here. This was from some of the viewers. That's you guys. When you get a new heart, does your age start when that heart was born?
Yeah, I'll get a new birthday.
Yeah, you get a new birthday?
It's your heart anniversary. They do say you get a new birthday.
Now, does that mean you'll live longer as well?
No.
Will you live to 135?
No. Transplants only last usually 10 to 15 years with extra good care. Did you not know that?
I didn't know that. It only lasts 10 to 15 years?
Yeah. With
You're
extra
going to get
good
another
care,
transplant?
They will, as long as you take care of yourself and your body does not try to reject it at all, you can, there's many that have lasted way longer, but yes.
Well, that's breaking news to me, and I'm the damn primary care person. What the hell?
I don't know what to tell you.
I didn't know that.
That's why I was worried to begin with to even get a transplant, because I'm only 35, and does that mean 45? Yeah.
Ooh.
But with very good care and medical technology has made leaps and bounds over the last 10 years, let alone 20. So
Right. Pigs, do you think that's something you would
I don't
be...
know if I want to join that club.
Well, I wouldn't either, to be fair.
I'll have to let them tread that out a few other people, because I'm not ready for that yet.
Now, how do you think you'll feel physically after you get the new heart? What are your physicians saying?
How soon after are we talking?
Well, we're talking about after you recovered, because we already...
If you can make a full recovery from it, it all depends on the person. As long it goes back to basically taking care of yourself too. How my body is going to react to having a new heart also. I know that's a major concern with myself, my mom too.
Well, that's my mom too.
Yeah, I know, but they, because of the different surgeries I've already had, my blood flows a little differently. So we're kind of curious to see.
And you have Lord.
I have sickle cell trait, just like you.
Lord have mercy, you're just wrapped up in this stuff.
But hopefully my organs will be like, oh, thank God, it's a normal function. I'm praying, because if not...
Well, and at the beginning of this, we thought you were going to need multiple organs.
We thought that I was going to
No, that was a possibility, or probability.
They were concerned that I was going to need a heart, liver, and lungs.
Which is crazy.
If that was the case, I would not be doing it where I am.
Yeah.
I would be going way out of state to, like, cross country, California
Minnesota.
or Minnesota, which is still very far away from home.
I ain't visiting you there.
I
It's
know.
too damn
I'm
cold.
glad that thankfully I'll be able to do it 2.5 hours away.
Yeah.
Thought we'll just take everybody, the kids and all. We're just all gonna. I couldn't be away from them for that long.
Do you think they'll be able to do normal activities though? Cause like
Yes, a lot of people that's what they do. They go hiking and stuff because then it's outdoors, so it's safer for us.
Right.
It's exercise, which is a very, very big deal after heart transplant. You want to keep that heart healthy.
Right.
And by healthy, it's a muscle. So
Yeah.
you exercise, you work it out.
Right. Yeah,
That's
to keep
the way
going.
to keep it going.
And then that with the blood flow into your body as well, and your
Yep.
circulatory system. You've had problems with that before as well, haven't you?
I don't. I think I do, but they say everything is
Who you were talking to or remember talking to about that?
maybe.
I'm not mentioning names here, nothing. Shames. Another I had, like, what is going to be the biggest change after the surgery? Like, because, we talk about your immunity, so I know, and for you guys as well, we're going to be doing another little skit tomorrow. Includes this, but you raise your own chickens.
Yep.
And I know we talked about maybe we could pasteurize them ourselves, but if that wasn't an option, you obviously couldn't have those, correct?
I can eat them fully cooked. They cannot be a dippy egg, a sunny side up egg, nothing like that. They have to be fully cooked to the degrees that an egg should be cooked to. Scrambled is your best option.
For people also cooking you food, right? Because
yes.
you can't.
All meat has to be cooked to temp. I know there's a lot of people on my support group that's like, oh, meat that's, a little pink. I probably will be a rule follower.
Yeah.
Do anything with my chickens. The eggs have to be washed before I can touch them.
Well, and is that forever or that's forever?
I can not touch them.
So your immunity never builds.
It does build back a little bit, but not enough to where I would want to take the risk. Let's say that. Gardening, you need to wear masks, gloves, be fully done. Just be in the sun. You have to be careful. You're more prone to getting cancer whenever you get an organ.
Wow.
Because your immunity is down.
Crazy.
Skin cancer especially, so you
And you skin cancer.
I did not know I had skin cancer until my evaluation for transplant. They check you head to toe, and I had to go to the dermatology. And
I think that's from mom's side.
I had skin cancer.
Yeah.
She's gonna see this and you'll
It is, because I got a bunch of moles that are...
You better get those
irritating.
checked. And that found my mole, and I was
Yeah,
like,
I
yeah,
know,
okay.
but
And the heart issue, so I'm like, that's the least of my concern.
Exactly.
And then I went to the dermatology, and they're like, oh yeah, this looks a little weird. We're gonna take it. And I'm like, what?
They burned it off too, didn't they?
They cut it off.
Oh, scraped it off?
Yeah, they just scrape. Yeah, that didn't hurt. The needles that they numb you with is the worst part.
Right. Now, one thing I've seen, which I think is preposterous, I understand it. This one person got a heart transplant, and they changed their dang football team.
Yeah.
You're not doing that, right?
I don't know.
Summer.
They changed it for their donor. That's how they felt whenever they woke up.
That is...
So
here's another question I have.
I seen that one too. Is it the Georgia person?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Before he even woke up, he saw the picture of the girl.
I'm just saying, ain't nobody taking my dang football team from me. I don't care who it is.
I'll probably.
Do you think you'll feel a connection to the donor? Because it'll be somebody else's organ. And like we talked about before, the heart has a lot more to do with your body than just pumping blood around. So you think you'll feel a connection to the donor? Or do you do you have expectations for that?
I don't think I have expectations of that. I have more like concerns that the donor family is going to want to meet me. And I know that might be weird to some people, but I almost hope that they do, because I would want to meet the person that got my loved one's organs, especially their heart, like just to hear it one more time. Like, okay, then to another thing, me and my heart. I am basically mourning having to give my heart up. Really? I hate that. And it's weird to sound because obviously it could kill me. But I've lived with it my whole entire life. Yeah, this is my normal. This is 35. This is what has been my normal my whole life. So to give that piece of myself up and to give a lot of stuff up, I feel. Yeah, it's a lot. It's more in the life that you live now because it's all going to change.
Also, I had a question about your past too, because
what part?
Well, we see now with populations growing that this is going to become a more common issue than it currently was because just more people are being born. That's just the facts.
And it's 1 in 100.
100,000 or 100?
100. 1 in 100.
So the thing I wanted to ask you, did you find Boggy Creek to be beneficial in your childhood? Because that's something that we have here that's pretty close by that I think people don't know as much about.
And if they do, they don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Actually just talking about that today. Boggy Creek was a very, I feel, essential part of my childhood. Growing up with a heart disease. Boggy Creek is a camp where I'm going to say medically disabled children can go. They have Heart Week, Lung Week, Asthma Week, Cancer Week. I mean, all kinds of different weeks that they do during the summer They have staff there, doctors, nurses, a whole medical facility set up. They're set up for it.
Well,
so that
I went
kids,
there too.
You did. You remember the paddle boats? They do fishing.
Yeah.
They do a huge swimming pool. They do horseback riding. And
I was always jealous.
I cried every time Mom would drop me off. And then I cried having to leave there every time. That place is it's a very magical place for children that are like me. You with other kids that have the same issue.
Right.
And maybe not even the same issue, but we all have heart conditions.
Y'all can
there.
relate.
So we can relate. There's no if it's on a TPN feeding or something, it's like, oh my God. Why?
Right.
Like you already, oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
We were
no
all
surprises.
normal. Yes. There was no, if they asked about why you came there, what your heart condition was, and it wasn't like, oh, well, why do you have that scar? It was like, oh, so what do you have? This happened kind of thing. And you could relate to them because most of them have had heart surgeries and stuff. And all look the same. We all have the same scars. So it wasn't, I feel like kids are so innocent and naive whenever it comes to certain things that whenever you have this big issue that I know, my parents always were, I was very informed on my issue. I knew everything about my issue that I could know possibly as a child. It made it a little harder to relate to others, but whenever you went somewhere like this, it was easy.
Yeah.
And I still have friends from there that I've been friends with since I was 6, or however old I was when the first time I went.
Right. Now, this is going to be my last question, I think, before we wrap it up.
Okay.
What's you wish more people understood about heart transplants and the afterwards?
Yeah.
Well, I know you get support. You have a GoFundMe. Which, if you guys are watching, go check out the GoFundMe. Donate if you can. But I talked about people,
So there are a lot of people that have offered to do a meal train, set up that for us, and ultimately, number one, I won't even be here.
Right. You're not even
afterwards,
here.
I'll Jacksonville. So if that gets set up for Raven or you guys who come home, that's fine. But I am not going to be able to do that. I am gonna have to cook my own food.
Mom will be cooking.
Yeah, no, I won't cook. Mom will cook. Thank God.
You
I won't be doing that for a while. So much better.
Yeah.
I've tried to add more fresh stuff, but it's not something that I can accept, and not because I'm being rude or because I don't like your food or cooking or whatever.
It's just
you cannot worry about germs. Number one, germs.
Yeah.
And not saying that people are dirty or anything like that, but if it is not properly done.
Yeah.
Things have to be every veggie. I can't have salads out anywhere. It has to be at home because you have to wash everything properly.
Right.
Everything has to be done properly to BT, because if you get just one little bit, it can be back in the hospital. It can be deathly. It can be a lot of things that I cannot risk, and I will not risk because it just isn't something.
It'll hurt your livelihood. You can take it away.
Yep.
So that wraps it up pretty much for this video today. You guys go ahead and subscribe. Go over to her channel, subscribe, all her content, follow her journey.
Yep.
Also, tune for the egg parody. It's going to be hysterical. We're going to have a lot of fun making it. And thank you guys for watching. And thank you for having me here at your house and letting me ask these questions for the people to know.
No, awareness. That's what we're bringing.
That's right. That's the mission here.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
All right. Thank you guys. We'll see you again.